Rep the 605 with Softball 605 apparel from our clothing partner, Dakota Lettering. Just click on the store banner on the Softball 605 website to see a wide variety of styles and colors. Want more options? Visit the store for an almost unlimited variety. Softball 605 Clothing. Represent.
Welcome, Softball 605, and welcome to This Week on the Diamond. I'm Travis Lape.
I'm Sandy Delker-Holbert.
And we're here to give you an update on this past week in softball around the state. Really, there was one big tournament this weekend, and that was the ASA State Tournament that was held here in Sioux Falls. I believe they said well over 170 teams participated over 3 days.
Yep.
And I feel I jinxed it because last show I said it wouldn't get to 100, and that heat index on Sunday was well over that.
Yeah, they even ended up cutting the games down to just an hour just to err on the side of safety.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing I feel like our tournaments here in South Dakota do a really good job of. They had kind of that issue at Ring Neck too, where they got rain in the morning and delayed some games, and they shortened them, and the tournament ends up running smooth. And so,
right.
How did it go for state when the games were shortened?
You know what? I think there was a little grumbling at first from some of the coaches, just because it is hard to get into a rhythm within an hour. But I think everybody, if they really sat back and thought about it, it was probably a really, really good decision, because that is just dangerous to be playing that much ball in the heat, especially if you were the loser coming in on Sunday's play. If you were going to make it to the winner's bracket or make it to the championship game, you had 5 games to play. And so that's just a lot of ball in a double elimination tournament.
That is.
So I think it was a very wise decision. It wasn't probably very popular at the time, but I think it ended up being fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And for some of our fans that are watching, just to let you know, our state tournament gives a berth to the winning team to nationals. And the 10s through 18s all have their national tournament coming up at the end of August here, and they're kind of spread out throughout the country. So let's get to some of the results and see what teams are heading where and who won what divisions.
All right. It looks like in the 10A division that the Midwest Dirt Devils came out on top, 14-2 against the Yankton Fury White. And the 10B division looks like the Yankton Fury Red beat Brookings Blast Red 1-13. Take the 12.
In the 12UA division, it was the Sioux Falls Blast defeating the South Dakota Renegades Black 10-9. In the 12B championship game, we had the Fusion Rookies against the River Dogs. River Dogs defeating Fusion Rookies 6-5.
All right, and it looks like in the 12C division, the Madison Rage came back and had to beat Yankton Fury Black twice, which looks like they were successful at that. They beat them 6-5 in the first game and 6-4 in the second game, so congratulations, Madison Rage. Okay, so that was probably one of the people that came back out of the loser's bracket, or one of the teams.
Right.
And had to play a number of games to get that far, and then to, beat the team coming out of the winner's bracket twice. So, well done, Madison Rage.
That's just hard to do, and so to accomplish that, I mean...
Right, even without 100-degree weather.
Yeah, absolutely. So. It's just a lot of games for a pitcher, and in the 12C divisions, you're probably dealing with maybe 2 pitchers if you're lucky.
Maybe,
because it's a recreational division, and so a lot of those teams just play, and state tournament's one of those tournaments that they come and participate in, but it's not something they prepare for. Right,
because probably, that is more than likely the biggest and the longest tournament that they've probably ever played this season. So
absolutely.
So great job, Madison Rage. In the 14A division, it looks like the Brookings Outlaws defeated the South Dakota Flash Attack 8-3.
In the 14B division, we had the Dakota Valley Panthers against Watertown Extreme Sliders, and this was one of those that Dakota Valley had to come back twice. They beat the Extreme Sliders 9-4 in the first game and 12-1 in the second game to end up being the 14B champions. Yeah, so way to go, Dakota Valley, coming back through the losers bracket to defeat that team. So
yeah, it's just a short. I think all the games were wrapped up by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so they started at 8 and played that many games in like 6 hours, so oh my goodness.
And they would have played almost all of those back to back.
Back to back, so that's just a huge accomplishment. In the 14C division, it looks like Chester Yeah, Chester was over the Rapid City Sizzle, 7-3.
In the 16A division, we had Brandon Blaze against South Dakota Select 16U. South Dakota Select 16U defeated Brandon Blaze without a score, it looks like. 12 to something. So we'll get that score at some point. If you check the South Dakota ASA website, you'll be able to get that. But congratulations, South Dakota Select, for beating Brandon Blaze.
And then in the 16B division, it was Diamonds Ice playing the Rapid City Heat twice, and they ended up, it looks like Rapid City Heat ended up being successful in, looks like they beat Ice. Twice. Yep, so they had to come back. So congratulations, Rapid City Heat, on that victory. That's a hard-fought battle.
In the 16C division, now this division had a really interesting situation that happened on its field that day, and I don't know if it was in the championship game or not. I saw it come through Facebook, and it's starting to get some national attention.
Oh, sure.
And this was the game that the two young ladies collided in the outfield, and both went down. And thankfully to our EMTs and our nurses that were in the stands, the immediate attention that both young ladies got, the worst thing that came out of that situation for them was just concussions. 2 concussions. I mean, yeah. But what people said on Facebook that I was reading, it was just, I mean, it was dead quiet as soon as it happened. And kind of the neat thing that happened there was both teams got together. The people watching, spectators, said it was it looked like it was scripted, but it wasn't. 2 teams got together and prayed for the 2 young ladies that were down. Yep. And so, I mean, that was something that happened on that Sunday, but you know,
it is going, I mean, for this neck of the woods, it is going viral. It's gotten a lot of attention. I know on the picture on Facebook, it had each of the girls, they were standing in a circle holding hands, and it said that they had recited the Our Father together. Prayers went up for both of the girls to hopefully come out of it okay, and like Travis said, it was just, not just, but they both ended up with concussions, but it certainly could have been a lot worse.
A lot worse, yeah. Absolutely. And thanks for the responders that were in the audience that jumped to action immediately. Sometimes just those things happening, keeping the girls still, keeping them calm, making sure they're coming back to is all key to making sure they recover properly. So great reaction by both fans. In that game, 16C division, Canton Fireflies against the Cyclones, and it looked like that game took 2 games to crown a champion, and the Cyclones came on top 17-3 as your 16C champions. So congratulations to the Cyclones.
All right, in the 18A division, it looks like the South Dakota Flash 18U was defeated by the South Dakota Renegades 2000, which is actually a 14U A team that played up 2 divisions, and so congratulations to the South Dakota Renegades for being victorious. That's a huge feat of itself, to just play in that 18U division and come out on top. So.
That team has done some things this year, and they're off to PGF for nationals out in California, and it'll be interesting to see how they match up against some other teams, because most of the year they've played up in tournaments to prepare themselves, and so it'll be interesting to follow that team from South Dakota and see how far they can actually go in the PGF tournament out in California. Make sure to send us your results, tweet us,
please,
Facebook it, you know, whatever, but get us the information so that we can stay up to date with, you know, how you're doing out in California. But that goes for all teams. Any team going off to nationals, send us your results. Carol at softball605.com. Send us the results. We'll get them up on the website, tweet them out, because it'd be nice for our associations back home here, but also just fans of Softball 605 to be able to stay up to date on teams traveling.
Absolutely, because it's not something that there's not a local ASA office like we have in Watertown that reports on all the ASA tournaments and what goes on in the state. There's USSSA, there's all kinds of different national tournaments, and so if you do not tell us about it, we will not know. So keep the good news coming.
In the 18B division, this was a battle of 2 local teams, the Harrisburg Tigers against Riot, and it was the Harrisburg Tigers coming up on top 9-8 in a close one there for the 18B championship.
Is that Tom Reed?
That's Tom Reed's team, and all year long that team's played in the rec division. And due to state rules, that they won the state tournament last year in 18C and returned more than 50% of their roster. So by state rule, they have to play up to 18B, and so this was their first competitive tournament, and ended up coming up just a little bit short on winning both.
Barely.
Winning that 18B. I mean, a great tournament for those young ladies.
Absolutely, coming out second. That's just awesome for first year up. So congratulations to Team Riot.
And I didn't hear how Anna did for the Harrisburg Tigers, but she was our player of the week the following week because of her performance in the league tournament. And so I'm guessing she was on the mound leading the Tigers to a state championship. So
congratulations
to the Tigers.
Very good. All right, in the 18C division, it looks like the Madison Bulldogs defeated the Dells Ice team, and I can't see the score on that one, but if you look at the website, the ASA website, the full score will be on there. So congratulations to the Madison Bulldogs.
That was a lot of softball.
And a lot of teams and a lot of people, and I know that when we were parking in this parking lot here at Sherman, I ended up parking, I hope it was legal, but I parked in front of the zoo and had to walk all the way back over here. It was absolutely crazy.
You know, and a tournament this size doesn't just happen. You know, I mean,
it takes years.
And just the experience that the state board has in dealing with a magnitude of championships like this, and to get it done in 3 days, and keep everybody hydrated and healthy and safe on the diamonds. Hats off to the state ASA board, Gary Young for your leadership in that, Carol Pipgrass kind of being the commissioner of the JO Fast Pitch, just all the planning that goes into an event like this, and to think that this tournament had over 170 teams, it's double elimination, a lot of games to be played and a lot of fields to be used. So
so I mean, if you think about the number of man hours needed just to groom the fields, and then for the most part I think every game had 2 umpires. I mean, just getting enough umpires and scheduling them, and just keeping the flow going so that they didn't get behind schedule. Awesome job. So hats off to ASA. That was a great tournament.
Coming up here, we've got a young man for ASA. You're going to be visiting with Matthew Morgan, a young umpire that's locally here, but is really starting to kind of dabble in getting to go off to nationals and different bigger tournaments based on his performances just locally, and so kind of excited about that.
Absolutely. It'll be nice to visit with someone young who has a fresh perspective on the game, and maybe some advice on how other umpires can maybe aspire or reach the same goals as he has. So it'll be nice to visit with Matthew.
Absolutely. Well, Softball 605, we're going to take a little break here, hear from a couple of our sponsors, and we'll be back with an interview with Matthew Morgan.
You've worked hard all year. I need you to bring it, dig down deep today, because today, everybody plays.
Everybody plays.
Everybody plays.
Everybody plays.
Play. When we first learned to work together, it was through play. We learned social skills, give and take, freedom and teamwork through play. There's no age limit on play, no skill level required. Play It Again Sports knows play. We buy and sell new and quality used sports and fitness equipment for less, so everybody can play.
Come on, let's play.
You bet I play.
Now it's time to play.
Play It Again Sports.
Play It Again Sports.
Play It Again Sports.
The official sponsor of
All those that play.
Welcome back, Softball 605 fans, to this week's edition of On the Diamonds. And with us today, we've got Matthew Morgan, who is a sophomore at Roosevelt High School and does a lot of umpiring here in the Sioux Empire. How are you today, Matthew?
Good.
Good. So just a little background history on you. Carol, who is normally here hosting the show with me, she had been out at, I believe it was the ASA, I don't know if it was a state tournament or if it was the ring neck. I think it might have been the ring neck tournament.
Might have been the ring neck.
Okay, well, she had two different people approach her, or she overheard these people approaching the umpires, wanting to know who the young umpire was on their field because he was doing a fantastic job. And both times when they answered her, it happened to be you. And so Carol decided I need to get a hold of that fine young man and get an interview with him. So I guess what we want to know from you is how many years have you been umpiring?
This will be my 5th year. Next year will be my 6th.
Okay. So how did you get started umpiring?
Well, I kind of just got thrown out there. My dad just had a scrimmage, 10U scrimmage, super competitive teams. He just threw me out there with my brother, and it just kind of started umpiring, and I kind of liked it. So I just went with it.
Okay. So did you have to do any formal type of training at all? Did your dad make you do anything besides follow him around? Because he's been doing this for years.
Yeah, he's been doing it for a while. Don't really think there's been any other training except for the umpire training year thing that I know Travis is a part of. He kind of hosts that with some other umpires that just do like a clinic for some of the new umpires or some of the returning ones. Just basic mechanics. Calls, judgment calls, just how to be on the field.
Sure. So when you go through that training, is there like advanced training or beginning training, or do you kind of get the same training every year, or does it kind of, as you move along, does the ante get up a little bit as far as how advanced your skills are?
The skill level does go up as you do more years in umpiring, but the training is the same. They just keep it at that base level. Most of my other training just come from being on the field with more experienced umpires and just kind of listening to hearing them talk about plays that they had during games, or just having them give me advice after we've done a game.
Okay, well, that's probably great. Hands-on experience is the best way to learn it, I'm sure.
Yeah, hands-on is probably the best way umpiring to learn how to umpire.
Sure. So if you could pick one or two things, what would be your favorite thing about umpiring?
My favorite thing about umpiring would probably have to be staying with the game. I played softball when I was in kindergarten. I played t-ball, and then I did softball in 8U, and then my team was the last year in 10U, and I just kind of wanted to stay with it. And my dad was an umpire, so he had me go on the field with my brother, and just kind of loved it, kind of stayed with it.
Okay, so when you talk about playing softball, did you play fast pitch then?
I played fast pitch.
Okay.
Did that in 8U and 10U. I just love the sport.
Okay, so then did you move on to baseball, or did you just switch over to slow pitch, or just umpiring after that point?
After that point, I kind of just hung with my dad. He was always at these big tournaments, the state tournament, the ring neck. I would always come out and just kind of watch and see how umpiring was, and then I just kind of got into umpiring.
Okay. What is your biggest challenge on the field?
I think the biggest challenge on the field is being so young and doing such good ball to where they want more experienced umpires on the field, but they tie in experience with age.
Sure.
And because I'm young, they think that I don't have enough experience to be on the field.
Sure.
So I think that's kind of the hardest problem, is just kind of proving myself that I do have enough experience, and that's why I'm out there.
Right. So as far as experience goes, is there a certain uniform or a certain shirt or color that you guys wear that kind of designates like your years of service or your years of experience?
No, there really isn't anything. The basic uniform, I'm not wearing it today, but the basic uniform is a powder blue top, gray pants, a black belt, black shoes, and a hat. This is the other uniform. They have the navy blue, the gray pants, the black belt, and the black shoes. Just kind of make everyone look the same.
Okay. So what do you aspire to do with your umpiring? Do you want to continue it for the next 3 years till you're done with high school, and then are you done and you're going to move on to hockey or something? What do you want to do with the future?
I feel that I just kind of want to stay with the sport. I just want to keep going. As I get better, I want to do better ball. I'm hopefully going to try and get into college sometime. Probably when I'm out of college or it's still in college, I'll probably try and get into that. I just kind of want to stay with the sport.
Awesome. Okay. Do you have any pieces of advice that you could offer up to young or new umpires?
I would say just find someone that's in umpiring already and just kind of talk to them and say, hey, how did you get started? And just kind of find the local league and just ask if you can be a part of it. Just that's how you can just get started.
Sure. And then I suppose just trying to get into as much of it as you can, because I'm sure just getting different games in and getting in different situations helps you grow your knowledge of the game.
Yeah, you just want to just jump into it. I'm sure that the league will put you under probably 8U and just kind of work you up from there. Just try and get as many games as you can.
Okay. So I'm sure that you have dealt with many coaches that have gotten upset with the call, gotten upset with you. Do you recall one situation that really sticks out? And you don't have to mention any names.
One situation that I kind of remember was my very first game ever umpiring. There was a fan actually who was just behind home plate, just badgering me about my strike zone, and just kind of getting on me. Kind of just pushed it to the side, took it with a grain of salt. Tried to keep my head in the game, try and do the best that I could do.
So you were able to keep your head in the game and not say anything back to him? Did you have to quiet him down or her down?
The guy that's thought about it, but then I'm like, yeah, I better not. Just kind of kept trying to keep my head in the game and just ignore it as much as I could.
Wow, that's actually quite amazing, because I've seen a lot of situations just as a coach and having a daughter that plays ball over the years. I have seen many situations where coaches get absolutely out of hand and irrational, and so if that's all you've had, then you are very fortunate.
Yeah, I've had some more. I think another one that kind of sticks out is actually the ring neck. I had a game where the state tournament. I had a game where the championship game. They didn't really like my strike zone, but both the teams were hitting it. Both the teams were fielding the plays. Both the teams were happy in the end. I think it was just that it was a close pitch. They wanted it as a strike.
Sure. It's one of those things where it's a judgment call and you can't replay it, so you'll never know exactly if it was off a centimeter, 2 centimeters, or if it was in the pocket. So I think a general rule is that if you're consistently off a centimeter, and as long as you're that way for both teams, nobody's going to ever complain, or they shouldn't ever complain, because at least you're being consistent and fair.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I'm sure that you've seen it all while you've been out there on the fields. All right. Do you have any advice that you would offer to anybody that is looking to get into umpiring, if they are just thinking about it, if they're not quite sure? What would you recommend they do?
I would say that just find the local league, like I said before. Just kind of ask about it, get into it. If you don't like it, that's fine, but just try and keep going with it. It's a fun sport, pays well, and it's just fun to be around.
Awesome. Well, Matthew, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy day. Do you have to umpire tonight?
No, I do not.
Are you done for the season, or do you have a couple more left?
I have a couple more tournaments. I have one up in Watertown this weekend. I'm going to go do 16s and 18s, and then I have a national here, the 18UB national. Hopefully they'll have enough teams for it, but we'll be doing that one here.
Oh, well, that's awesome to have that experience as a umpire. And it's a B18B national tournament,
Yep.
Is that correct? Okay.
Be an 18B
Awesome.
regional.
Awesome. That'll be a great experience for you. Well, this is Sandy Delker-Holbert signing off for Softball 605, and thank you to Matt for joining us.
Thank you.
Getting recruited by college coaches is more difficult every year. There are thousands of other athletes competing for your position. MyPlayerPage.com is the best place for athletes to showcase their personal and player information. Check us out today at MyPlayerPage.com. Any sport, any athlete, any state, any city, champions all.
Bargain Bites has a huge supply of refurbished electronics. They're a Microsoft authorized refurbisher. Just look at this. Computers as low as $100 and a wide variety of electronics, all so affordable. Look at these deals. A Dell 4-core laptop, fully tested, only $200. A MacBook, fully tested and ready to go, only $200. Subscribe to the Bargain Bites YouTube channel and get all sorts of great tips from super technician Brendan. Bargain Bites, just east of the airport off Benson Road. visit them today online at bargainbites.net.
Welcome back, Softball 605. That was fun, listening to Matthew share his passion for being on the diamond and wearing the colors.
Yep, he's very proud of it.
He is.
Yep. Carol had shared a story with me about how at that young age, he's only a sophomore in high school, but at that young age, that she had gotten or overheard 2 inquiries from other umpires or other fans wanting to know who he was because he did such a great job. And at his age, that is quite an accomplishment. So
absolutely.
So hopefully we can keep him around and hopefully the game will win over the not so fun stuff that happens on the diamond for him. So, but great kid.
Absolutely. You know what I like about Matthew and even Greg, his father, is after Matthew gets off the field, the first thing Greg talks to him about is not the things he's done well, but some of the things that he needs to improve on. And so Matthew's always coming off the field looking for how can I be better. Right. And you don't always see that with young umpires. You see sometimes a little more of an arrogance of, I'm just going to go call this game and I'm going to do the best I can, but afterwards I'm just going to be okay with it. You know, where there's a lot of self-reflection for Matthew, and I think his success and the way he's working up the chain at such a young age is only going to pay dividends for him when he's older because of the experience and the reflection he's doing after every game of, okay, what could I have done better? Where could I have been to make that call? You know, even more sure of than maybe where I was.
Yep, and I think it's awesome to see that level of maturity because not a lot of kids that age want that constructive criticism because it's very uncomfortable, but he looks for that because that's part of his growth, I think. And
absolutely.
Yeah, so that's just a neat kid, great story. He does a great job on the field, so we're glad to have him.
Yeah, and kind of talking about on the field, this last weekend, Softball 605 really did their first big weekend of live streaming and has had some huge success with that. I think you've got some numbers for us to share about, they streamed games Friday and Saturday and had a lot of people tuning into these games.
They did. What they did is they chose 3 games, and between those 3 games that they had live streamed, they had over 1,000 views.
That's incredible.
Yep, and the 16U game that they live streamed ended up being 50% of those. So yeah, so we know that there are people that, you know, as long as they know about it, they are enjoying the convenience of having, especially with it being such a hot weekend, but also I'm sure there's people that live far enough away that it wasn't an option for them to come, so at least they're not missing out on the games. But that's just a lot of numbers.
It's an incredible service because most of the time when you think about live streaming and you think about what the colleges do, you have to pay $10-15 to watch the game through the live stream at your home in the comforts of your own home. But Softball 605 really looks to partner with sponsors to offset those costs, but also be able to give back to those local tournaments. It's kind of a fundraiser sometimes for those local tournaments to help offset other costs, is this live streaming deal that Softball 605 has set up, and it's showing that there's traction and there's people interested in the sport, and those are incredible numbers for the first weekend of really getting out there and doing it.
Nope, that is a huge success. So hopefully they can continue with that and continue to bring softball to those that are interested in seeing it, that can't be at the games out at the field. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Looking forward to this weekend. Really, slow pitch and fast pitch kind of start to slow down a little bit.
Right.
Slow pitch is starting to kind of gear up for their big tournament next weekend, their state tournament. But Gary Young, our state ASA commissioner, has a tournament that he hosts up in Watertown. The 42nd annual Young's Prime Time. It will have men's and boys fast pitch, which we don't see a lot of boys fast pitch anymore. No. But he does get a couple teams to come in and participate and play.
That is awesome because it seems like that's just as the years go on, it's just a dying sport, especially for the young boys. That's just awesome to see.
Absolutely. And then they'll have both the girls slow pitch as a tune-up weekend for state, and then girls fast pitch. Some of the teams just getting in their last tournament of the year to play a little bit. So Young Prime Times tournament is this weekend, Saturday and Sunday in Watertown. If you've got results, make sure to send it to Carol at softball605.com, and we'll make sure to highlight your champions this week on the diamond.
Yep, and then on the slow pitch side of this, the women's ASA state tournament will be held in Huron, so good luck to all of those women that will be playing in that tournament. Looks like they have divisions 2, 4, 5, and 6 that will be playing there. So good luck to everybody in that tournament.
kind of another busy weekend of softball as teams. Some teams are heading off to nationals. I know one of our guests that was supposed to be on the show today is off to nationals, so hopefully we can get Brian on the show next week talking about nationals. But good luck to all our teams that maybe are heading up to NAFA up in Minnesota or down to the USSSA tournaments in Des Moines or Kansas. Teams will be heading out to ASA, which, like I said earlier, ranges kind of across the nation. And then PGF is in California, which for sure our one Renegades team is heading off to. I'm not sure if any other teams are off to California for the PGF.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any going that direction, but I do know that there are a lot of teams, and it's far too many to mention without leaving somebody out, but there are a lot of teams that are scattering to these different locations, so we wish all of them the best of luck.
Absolutely.
Over the next couple of weeks, because I know some are already there this week, and then some will leave next week, so it's a busy 2 weeks continued of softball, just not in the area.
Right, and then at the end of the month we'll have the 18B Nationals, Northern Nationals here.
That's exciting.
And that is exciting, so if you are an 18 and under team and looking for kind of a national tournament locally to play in, we highly suggest you to think about playing in this one. If you need more information, definitely just contact Carol Pipgrass, our JO Commissioner. She'll get you some more information on how you can get into that tournament, because it's fun to be playing a national tournament in your hometown. So definitely stay tuned to that, as Softball 605 will cover that, and make sure any local teams that are participating get their names shouted out for that tournament, because it will be local here where anybody can come out and watch them.
Yep, it should be a great experience for the girls and for fans alike, because it's not very often, it's not a yearly occurrence where we get a national tournament here in Sioux Falls, so that's quite an honor.
Absolutely. Well, Softball 605, thanks for tuning in to This Week on the Diamond. I'm Travis Lape.
I'm Sandy Delker-Holbert.
And you are Softball 605.